We are back on Talk News TV, and as promised, we are now going to tackle the topic smart farming. And we have as our guest, Sonny Domingo. Sonny, welcome to Talk News TV.
Thank you very much for having me here.
What is the meaning of Get Smart Farms?
Yes, Get Smart Farms actually emanated from the fact that our agriculture is antiquated and Jurassic, and our system is planting rice at tinatawanan lang tayo. We are a laughing stock in the world because everybody is mechanized farming now. They're planting with transplanters and harvesting with machines, tractors, and we can buy all of this anytime. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. So we thought of providing renewable energy now to the farms, provided we can gather them into a 1,000 hectare module so that 1,000 farmers will benefit and they will go into the commercial scale farming.
What does Get Smart stand for?
Get Smart Farms will be is the acronym of Green Energy Technology. This is the gasifier, the solar power, the wind power, and even wave power in the future, and even ethanol power, because we're planting kamote by the hundreds of thousands of hectares of kamote to produce our own ethanol.
I suppose it will include mini hydroelectric power plants.
Mini hydro, we need the water to be run, but this one we will get it from the aquifer, which is the water bank under the soil. This is everywhere in the Philippines. You can get this easily near the mountains. So
can you produce electricity out of falling streams?
Yes, but then that is not the technology that we're introducing. We're introducing the biomass, which is the burning of the rice husk to run the generator to provide the electricity. Of course, everybody knows the solar power, which is not very popular.
Wind power.
And wind power. Kaya lang, ang problema, if they're not there, no power. So the biomass is supported by what we call a feedstock, an ADX, a kind of plant that is a giant sugar cane. We harvest them every 4 months. We chop them, and they become the feedstock or the fuel for the gasifier.
Can you produce alcohol also?
Yes, we can produce alcohol from this kind of grass also that we will be growing in the Philippines. We have some of them now in Pangasinan. We have done the trial. The smart means systematic, modernized, appropriate rural technology. That means we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We'll just buy the hand tractor. We'll just buy the riding tractor. We just buy the transplanter and harvesters from neighboring countries like Korea and Taiwan and Japan. So the farms is the farmers as sustainable farmers now. They will not be subsistent. They will now be sustainable because they can plant every day, and harvest every day according to the program that we will provide to them.
So you have some visual aids for us?
Yes, can you please run the visual aid now? Okay, we are now the #1 importer, yet we have one of the biggest rice areas among those countries there.
So we are lagging behind in production, but we have a big land area.
Yes. Mamaya, you'll see that there is also a shortfall. There's a statistics that we are only really 80% sufficient, and we have to import 20%.
Can you go on with the other slides, please?
So this is a proof of concept. That means it's not something new. It's been done before. We were able to introduce certified seeds to the farmers to be able to double their yield, increase their yield. We have now mechanization from 0.5 horsepower to 1.2 horsepower.
You have existing smart farms in Isabela, Pangasinan, Zambales.
Yes, and we started this with the GO47, where Meralco Foundation was the initial farmer linkage.
That is the general order issued by President Marcos.
Right. This is the order requiring all corporations to produce rice for their own employees.
And coupled with Proclamation #1, emancipating the tenants from bondage to the soil, and Presidential Decree 27, the Agrarian Reform Law, you will now continue the program of President Marcos. And combine
Yes.
the cooperatives of the farmers with your corporation. Can you
Yes.
tell us more about that?
Including the resources. The KAMMPI is a federation of farmers, fisher folks, and farm workers. And if you remember, the farmers are investing more than the combined investment of our Taipans every year just to plant rice,
Yeah.
just so you have rice to...
Because the inputs are very expensive.
Yes, and so their property is also worth many times over the Taipans. You see, the 4 million hectares are, if converted into irrigated farms, it will be worth 1 million. In fact, we offered that for them to join us, we will buy back their farm if they do not want to buy anymore. But anyway, we are hoping to train them and train their children to go into modern farming. That will not, it will not be planting rice is never fun.
So aside from producing the raw products, you can turn these products into finished products like wine, like alcohol.
Yes.
Can you tell us more about canned goods?
Yes.
So you will be somewhat industrializing the countrysides.
Yeah, maybe if you can look at 3 or 4 slides, we will be able to go into that.
Can you continue
Yeah.
the slides, please?
Yeah.
Yan.
Well, we are the our poverty has gone up after the during the Aquino administration.
During the first Aquino administration, because
The latest Aquino administration.
continuing with the
yeah.
Sun, they
Right.
are consistent with their
Yes.
poverty program, but
Yes.
it is not anti-poverty.
Okay,
Okay.
next slide, please. We are now, to answer your question, we are working with the cooperatives that have their own warehouses. Inside the warehouse will be processing centers and
So
the
you can
gasifier.
convert these warehouses into industrial.
Into industrial sort of park where everything, the food processing will be there. So therefore, we can produce rice oil, we can produce rice wine, and we can produce other crops, other...
How about cooking oil?
Well, for coconut farmers, we can produce our own cooking oil. The coconut farmers will eventually benefit from this because now they will own the product of the coconut plant and coconut husk that they will be wasting.
And then the
on
sugarcane farmers can produce
Sugarcane.
alcohol,
Yes.
which they can use for electricity generation.
And the kamote farmers can produce their ethanol.
Mm.
So it will be an integrated farming system from seed production to the selling of the produce of the farmers. So rice, vegetable, high value crops, other high value crops, and we can even go organic. And I understand.
So you're going to use azola as your fertilizer.
Yes, azola and other kinds of green manure plants that we can plow into. So if
How
you
about
see,
pesticide? Will you use nicotine for your pesticide?
no, maybe we'll use biological pesticide. But you'll see the solution is really with us already. If you saw the picture, I can get back to the picture of there. You see, this farmer is the only one that's planting rice the whole year round because he has a irrigation pump.
Yeah, and
the power is from diesel. That's
Okay.
what makes it expensive. Now, if we provide now the electrification, which is electricity, renewable electricity, in every farm, a farmer gets electricity for his 1 hectare. He can take care of his other farm.
Instead of using the diesel generator
Yes.
or
The
diesel
renewable
machine,
energy.
you can use the electricity-powered machine,
Yes.
and the electricity will come from the farm itself.
Yes, from the rice husk.
Okay.
And if that's not enough, you'll be planting a kind of a giant grass, we call it ADX, where we can produce now electricity at 350 per kilowatt hour. And you are buying now at 12, and islands are buying at 25. Palawan is buying at 35. In fact, this program can irrigate and energize the whole country
So we will
with agroforest waste.
We will be saving precious foreign exchange
course.
and reducing our importation of oil, gasoline, diesel.
Yes.
So we will be energy self-sufficient.
Yes, we'll be food secure and we will be energy secure.
Okay.
And then with China coming in, the graph there shows that from biomass, which is either wood chips from trees, tree farming. We can now grow trees now in the mountains, and that's a livelihood for the Kaingeneros rather
industrial
than
tree
just now.
plantation.
Yes, and so the rice has, the sugar waste, and even coconut has will go into what we call the gasifier that will run now the electric generator and the electrification pumps.
By the way, gasifier was started during the time of President Marcos.
Yes, also. In fact, we were running our Ford Fiera with gasifier at that time, yeah. And so even mountainsides can now be irrigated, whereas before now the irrigation system cannot irrigate mountainsides
we can
on the
plant
flatlands.
on the
Yes.
mountainsides.
Yes, yeah. So
What else?
yeah, maybe if the next slide, and I'll
next slide,
explain the next slide, please. Now you see the solar farm is done in India already, and the farmers are themselves operating it.
And then the solar panels are getting
Yeah.
cheaper and
And
cheaper
also-
by the
Yes,
minute.
yes, yeah.
And China is now producing very cheap solar
Yes.
panels.
Yeah, and so we can import solar panel from them, and we export vegetables and rice and other food products. 1 trillion, they are opening up a market for $1 trillion dollars for the Philippines
And
alone. Yeah.
not only raw products, but also wines,
Yes.
cooking oil,
Yes.
alcohol,
Yes.
And other...
Especially coconut products for
yeah.
their soap making. Okay, next please. Maybe we can look at that. Now we are not introducing rocket science here. We are just changing the technology from rice planting into transplanter, and then from harvesting, rice harvesting, hand harvesting into a... you can now see this in Webesia. Meaning...
So what is the fuel for the tractors and the harvesters?
Oh, well, hopefully we should be able to get it from our kamote farmers, ethanol. Yeah, we'll be, but right now we'll be using crude oil, still diesel, and maybe we can have a barter with China. They give us their crude oil, we'll refine it, and we will give them our crude rice, and they can do their own rice wine. But if not, we can also do rice wine.
Not only China, we can also do trade with Saudi Arabia and Iran.
Yes, yeah, we can go into halal farming. We can produce any volume that they want because we are now commercial farming.
And also Russia, because
Yeah.
Russia does not want to buy agriculture products from Western Europe because the Western Europe place sanctions upon Russia. So in retaliation, Russia is now sourcing from other countries. We can supply the agricultural needs of Russia, the food needs of Russia.
Right, because we are now corporate farming, we are now commercial level. We are commercial level, we can now supply the volume needed. The reason why there is no market is if they ask for the volume, you don't have it. But if 1,000 hectare project site, you multiply that by 10, that's 100,000
So
already.
that was the element that was lacking before. The
Consolidation of the farmers' resources.
Yeah.
And the ownership.
Yeah.
They will not join if they are not the owner of the
Correct.
corporation.
It must be a democratic ownership. Where even you said that even the tenant farmers will become stockholders.
Yes, of the farm, of
Not
the farm
just
corporation.
the beneficiaries of the agrarian reform, but also the tenant farmers.
Tenants. And the landowners will just get their fair share on production.
And then you were
But the
saying
ownership
that we will
the
be employing agriculturists.
Yes.
Because right now our agriculturists are going abroad,
Yes.
resulting to brain drain.
And they are doing something else instead of agriculture.
They're going into call centers.
Yeah, and also they are cleaning the airplanes of other countries. So we will keep them here. We will encourage the farmers, son and daughters back to farming.
Yeah.
We will keep the farmers, and then we will retire them even as millionaires.
And then
once we
our
get this
state
going.
colleges and universities can
Will
offer more courses all over the Philippines
Yes.
regarding agriculture.
Right.
Okay.
So we are an agricultural country. All developed countries started from agriculture.
Yes.
In fact, we still have the biggest number of farmers. Eventually, with this program, we will have less farmers and more industries. More industries, more jobs in the countryside. Because the reason why Marcos created the National Electric Administration was for rural industrialization.
Correct.
With
We
rural
had the
electricity.
11 major industrial projects.
Yes, yeah. But then something happened along the way.
EDSA Uno.
Yeah, the cooperatives became profit-oriented and they go around the world for the income of that. So rather than giving cheap electricity, if you put up something in the countryside now with expensive electricity, all of the profit goes to energy.
Yeah, we now
Yeah.
have the most expensive electricity in the
Yes.
world. So who
Yeah.
in his right mind
Yeah.
will invest in the Philippines?
Yeah.
So we have to do something about it.
Right.
Despite of the government,
Yeah.
the Marcos loyalists like you
Right.
will do something about it.
Yeah. So these smart farms will be a food farm, energy farm, and it will be an economic farm, economic emancipation of the farmers. So they had land emancipation. They are now due for economic
Yeah,
emancipation.
because of what use is democracy if it is not for the poor?
Right.
That is a
Yeah.
direct quote from President Marcos, by
That's
the way.
true. Yeah.
Are there any other
Yes, other
visual
slides
aids?
we have. Yeah. Okay, we will now go from poverty to prosperity. We predicted 7% prosperity if our program will be used, but then we have now 7%, but this is coming from the remittances of our
OFWs.
of young professionals also
Resulting
who are being
to
enslaved.
brain drain.
Yes.
So it says there you're going to produce noodles, sake,
Yes.
water, chestnuts.
Yes.
So little by little, we will attain industrialization.
In
Just
fact,
like what the other countries
no,
did, Japan, China.
and it is rural industrialization.
Yeah.
That means they're job in the countryside.
So they will not
Yeah.
have to go to Metro Manila to
Yes.
find jobs.
Yes, that's
Okay.
the
And I suppose sometime in the future, we will be importing labor instead of exporting labor.
definitely, because we will be more industrialized now in the countryside.
Okay. So are there any other slides there?
Yeah. Next slide, please. Oh, that is the platform. You see, the government has been helping our countryside with subsidy, but now we are not allowed to have subsidy. But then the problem with government is it cannot encourage profit centers for the farmers, even as a group, as a cooperative, and do the wealth sharing in the level that we're talking about. With this now, we will now have wealth sharing in a bigger level rather than a small level. That's why for little amount of money, they fight over it. But because we provide professional management, no one group of farmer can just take over the corporation.
And you should
Yeah.
avoid the problem being faced by other countries wherein the earnings are just invested in the stock market.
Yes.
So
yes.
we must avoid that. The
Yes.
earnings must be
Reinvested.
reinvested in the farms
Yes.
themselves
Ac-
to attain
Yeah.
industrialization.
Actually, the 1,000 hectare module is replicable anywhere. If we start this in one province, then it can go next town, then it can next
Little by
province,
little until
yeah.
the entire country is
Yes.
already saturated
Yes.
with these smart farms.
Yes, our objective is to irrigate 1 million, additional 1 million hectares. It costs the government to irrigate 1 hectare 1 million peso. In this program, may tractor pool na sila, they have now their own rice mill, and they have their own benefit
generation.
systems, and then electric renewable energy. It costs only 500,000 pesos per hectare. That's why we're willing to buy back the farm at one.
So-
if in case they do not want to farm anymore, we'll
Even
buy it back
the
from them.
lands
What
that
am I doing?
are
Idle
now can be irrigated and
yes.
put to
Yes.
productive use.
Right.
So what are the other visual aids?
and the mountains can now be planted with trees,
Oh,
and they can,
yeah. How
can
about
sell
this
to
one?
us. This is a typical farm where there's a watershed. That's why tama si Gina when he said we should protect the watershed, because from the watershed
We can
you
get the
fill up
water.
the aquifer.
Correct.
The aquifer now you can pump out the water.
Including
So-
drinking water.
So this is a picture of a farm where it is only planted once a year. Smart farms, when it enters this area, will be planted the whole year round
Because of irrigation.
because of irrigation, and we can also protect the watershed.
Okay,
So
so
that
we will
they go
protecting the
together.
environment, we will be
Yes.
protecting the environment,
Yeah.
and yet attain agricultural and industrial
Yeah.
advancements.
And it's good you told me that, because we can produce herbal medicine for pharmaceuticals,
Yeah.
and we have we can organize wellness farms for people that would like to eat
Yeah,
pure organic.
we can put
organic
into
grown.
capsules, for example,
Yes, right.
the oil coming from the seeds of the malunggay.
Yes.
Okay.
And other herbal medicine that we
Okay.
can go.
Like
that we can
banaba, we
grow.
are drinking banaba
Yeah.
tea right now.
This,
So what are the
salaba.
other
Yeah.
visual aids that we have there?
Next, please. This is the original gasifier that a mechanical engineer and I invented in 1980.
With the support of President Marcos.
Yeah, about that time. Yeah. So, but then the price of oil went down, so we had no need for it, and we had to dismantle it. But you see, the blue color there is the gas that can run even a jeep, even a car that is
Yeah.
adapted to gas.
I saw during the
power.
time of President Marcos, the
Yeah.
Ford Fiera that was being run by a gasifier engine.
Yes, yes.
Oh, and I believe you
from
were the one
Philippines.
who developed
Yes,
that.
we were. No, actually, it's an old
A group.
technology. It's a group that
During World War
we just
II, it was
adopted.
used. During
Yes,
World War II.
yeah, yung uling-uling.
Oh.
Right. So we're just getting back to where we were
Oh, let's
with
go back to
energy source.
basics.
We are going back to basic and making it modernized.
So, what are the other visual aids that we
next,
have there?
please. Well, this is how much it would cost to develop a 1,000 hectare farm. It's about 500,000 per hectare. But then everything is there. We have even the IT, you know. When we irrigate the farmer, he plants 10 hectares. The corporate farm plants 10 hectares a day. And if the farmer runs away with the water, we can close the water by sensors and by the cloud. And we can
High-tech.
transfer money. Yeah, we can transfer money to the farmers. We have a board of the whole 1,000 hectare, and when it's time for them to irrigate, it lights. That means they can open their electric water pump. Now, if they forget to open the electric water pump, we can run the electric water pump even if the farmer goes to the fiesta.
This was
And forget about
the
it, yeah.
idea of President Marcos before.
Yes.
I'm sure you have heard of Project Santa Barbara.
Yes.
Sina Commander Ginto, my
Yes,
uncle,
oo,
Commander
oo.
Passion of the Philippine Navy.
Everything is connected.
Yeah.
to
So
it.
scientific development of the
Right.
countrysides.
And even the transfer of funds. It's
Yeah.
easy for a farmer now to get the money that he earned. By the way, the farmer now will not be displaced here. He would still be the manager of. We will train him to be his own farm manager.
To be
and
a smart farmer.
Yeah, a smart farmer and be a farmer entrepreneur. And he still be part of a mother company, like a holding company. So he
Okay.
owns the holding company. He is the small company.
That's what they're doing in
Yeah.
Taiwan, in Japan,
Right.
and in
Yeah.
China. So there's no
That's
reason
true.
that we cannot do it here.
Yeah.
What are the
it's
other
not a new
visual
one.
aids that we have there?
Next, please. Okay,
Wala na,
I
okay.
think we ran out of visual
So
aid.
your parting shots, Kasani.
Yes, we have to now look into the small farmer as corporate entities, the small farmers corporate entities. The government must now change its dole-out system policy into a seed fund by providing seed funds to group of farmers willing to go into commercial farming, like 1,000 hectares. In the absence of this policy from the government and Department of Agriculture, we are hoping and calling upon corporations to share their CSR, corporate social responsibility, with us and fund one of these projects. And there can be 10 of them they can fund. And
Okay.
then, but we're looking towards now some foreign funding that will help us, because we can produce the food that they need. Like China, they will run out of food. And we are the only country that can produce food when they don't have the food.
We can be the food basket of the world.
Yes,
Just
yes.
like Ukraine,
Right.
the food
yes.
basket of Europe.
Right.
We can be the food basket of the world.
That's true,
So
yeah.
that's Talk News TV for you this week, and we hope that you will be back with us next week. Keep on watching Talk News TV so that you can be smarter. President Duterte, don't forget Kasani Domingo. You reappoint him because he is a good guy. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Talk News TV.